You get to only choose one, Dominic. Only one.
Yeah.
One fight that you could see out of these three. The other two will never happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Oops.
Okay? Which do you choose? You got a
Yeah,
little
got a little
happy with
trigger.
the
Yeah.
trigger happy. McGregor versus Diaz 3.
Yeah.
Jon Jones versus Francis Ngannou.
Mhm.
Or Charles Oliveira versus Khabib. All these, of course, McGregor Diaz not a title fight, but Jones. The implication is that Jones and Ngannou would be for a heavyweight title,
Yeah.
lightweight title for Oliveira Habib. Um, the floor is yours, Dom.
Man, Noah. I so the one I can easily get rid of is actually Jones versus Ngannou. That's the easiest one to get rid of for me.
Really,
For
that's the
me.
easy one.
Yeah. Yeah. Um because I so badly want that trilogy to be finished. But it's so many years removed from when it could have really capitalized on it. But then you look at Oliveira and Habib, and it's like, well, Habib's literally retired. Like, he's probably never going to come out of retirement. He seems very content with what he's doing
Right,
in
but this is
life.
obviously saying that he would come out of retirement, and I think the
Okay.
implication is that he would be coming out to avenge Islam
Yeah,
because
so this
Charles
is
would
kind
say
of
so.
assuming Charles wins that fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we're making those sort of assumptions, I think I have to do Oliveira and Habib, Noah. I think I do. I think I do. Charles Oliveira is becoming a star day by day. Really, like day by day.
Brick by brick.
Brick by brick, inch by inch. I've never seen a dude miss weight and gain more fans, but this guy is built different, and that wasn't a jab at Charles. I think it was all a disaster that whole day and everything how they did it,
Right.
yada yada yada. But the way that he carries himself, the fights that he's in, the story behind him, Noah, we really haven't seen anything like it. Not much. And then Habib, unblemished record, undefeated, one of the best to ever do it, one of the best champions. Wiped out, three very, very solid title defenses, retired right in his prime. A shame that he went too soon. But he comes back to avenge his protege, Islam Makhachev. Come on, no. I'm not saying it's obviously not going to do 2.4 million like Conor and Habib did, but I strongly believe Oliveira and Habib would, dare I say, easily surpass 1 million pay-per-view buys. I think that is the one I would choose out of these three.
I don't think that's a long shot either because I'm pretty sure it might not be the most successful now of the year, but Oliveira Gaethje did like really well.
Yeah, almost 500K, I think, or something.
Yeah, and it was like the highest at that point, like
And him
over
and Dustin did
Ngannou.
well last year,
Yeah,
too.
Ngannou Gone didn't do that well. Izzy Whitaker too didn't do that well. Like comparing, like they did
Right.
less. I mean, like I think, and even Masvidal Covington didn't do as many as them. Like
Mm-hmm.
that. I mean, that says something, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, this you think I'd have my answer ready? I put the question on here, but
I basically talked myself into it there, so.
if I could only see one of these forever, the other two will never happen.
Never happened. Yeah.
I gotta stick to who I am. Don't get me wrong. I love the big fights. The I love the glitz and glamour of the fight game. I love when it gets a little wild sometimes. But who I am as deep down is I love the sport side of this sport. Like I love when it sticks to being legacy and best versus the best, and because of that, I'm going Jon Jones versus Francis Ngannou.
Interesting.
Yeah, so McGregor Diaz 3. While again, don't sign me up. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
massive,
Yeah.
but I think the ship has sailed somewhat. In my
Yeah.
like, it's not at its peak value anymore.
Not even close. Yeah.
Like if we saw it now, it'd be great. It'd be a spectacle, obviously, especially after all Nate went through with the UFC. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, once the result happens, what do we really take away from that?
Right. Right.
Like Nate was nearly 38, 39 years old. Conor, not really the same guy for a while.
Yeah.
Oliveira Khabib, you know how much I love Charles Oliveira.
Yeah.
And I love Khabib, but I'd be like Oliveira ride or die.
Yeah.
And if he won that fight, I would probably have a heart attack. Like, I'd probably die. Like, if I'm being honest with you, I think that's peak of life right there. Like, what's there left to live for? But at the same time, like, I kind of like that Khabib has retired at the top, and
Yeah.
we
don't see it often.
If he came back and lost to Oliveira, again, what are the questions going to be about that? Was it that how hard was he training while retired? Was, all this stuff that people would say, it would still discredit Charles in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And for my answer, Jones and Ngannou, there would still be that's kind of discrediting if, let's say, Ngannou knocked out Jones. People would say, well, Jones took this much time off. He's in a new weight class, like, whatever. But to me, that's the biggest legacy fight of the three. Wait, do I want to stick with that answer?
That's close.
Because Oliveira Khabib is definitely. Legacy. I mean, if Oliveira
because listen,
can I say it's the biggest? I don't know if I can say that.
We're talking if Oliveira and Khabib were to happen. We've seen the wins that Oliveira's on right now, the win streak he's on. What's he won? 10 in a row now? So if he beats Islam, that's 11. If he beats Khabib, that's 12. Those are all in title fights. Then that stretch, Chandler, Poirier, Gaethje, Islam, Khabib, dude.
Maybe a win over Khabib. Well, fuck.
If Khabib beats Charles, it does less for legacy. Maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it still does
comparative to Jones and Ngannou. But yeah,
I'm gonna stick with Jones and Ngannou because I think there's just as much on the line for both guys.
Both sides, yes. Yeah.
I think for Jon Jones to go to a new weight class that people said he avoided for years, to take the time to build himself up. He looked a little lackluster in some of those last couple fights at light heavyweight.
Yep.
Really prove you're the best to ever do it. Avenge everything that's gone on, all the turmoil outside the cage.
Yes.
It doesn't matter when you're in the octagon. Win that fucking fight and etch your name into history. Francis Ngannou has all the makings of MMA's Mike Tyson. He could become maybe one of the biggest names in the sport. He's got this killer knockout power, but he's even proven to have the wrestling to kind of keep him more well-rounded. If he were to knock out Jon Jones, the best fighter of all time, I mean, and I know that part of you probably wishes I put Jones versus Gane on here because I know that fight interests you more.
Yeah.
But I feel like Jones and Ngannou it feels not necessarily as big of a spectacle as McGregor, Diaz, or Oliveira Khabib, but it feels very comparable in some ways. Like it feels like a big spectacle, and Ngannou has sort of reached that level.
Yeah.
Jon Jones to me, that is a legacy fight in every sense of the word for both guys, and
it would be massive at the end of the day. Like, you think that breaks 1 million as a headliner?
Probably not.
Or would it matter with the card? You think under it?
It would probably
because I think the other two obviously.
I think the other two probably hit 1 million. That one might hit like 800, 700,000. I mean, Gane and Ngannou did like 300.
Yeah, true. And John's never been the biggest draw.
I mean, Jon Jones has done better than most, but he was still like in a 500. I mean, he's like in a little less than Izzy, maybe.
I mean, unfortunately, guys, really the fact of the matter is the legacy and title defenses don't really matter that much when it comes to pay-per-view buys.
No, it doesn't. But that's not how I'm answering.
I know. Yeah.
But you're right. It doesn't really matter. But the UFC wouldn't love my answer to this. They'd be like, "Come on, man! Like pick one of the other two. Those are gonna hit 1 milli, But
yeah, I mean, if Ngannou wins that fight, were to win that fight too, I mean, what a statement to the UFC. All the stuff going on, the contract situation.
Yeah.
Woo. I mean,
imagine if that was the last fight on his contract. He knocks out the best in the sport to ever do it, and then he just walks away.
Shimony Christmas. Wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
What L's the UFC would have taken by losing Nate Diaz and then him back to back.
People tell us, what fight are you taking? I gotta
No,
know.
I want to know. I want to know. But that's going to wrap it up for these questions. But Dominic, there's only one.